What if the greatest gift old age offers isn't more time, but fewer distractions? There comes a season in life when you stop measuring your wealth by what you own and begin measuring it by what no longer disturbs your peace. Yet many people never reach that freedom. They grow older, but they continue carrying the same arguments, the same need for approval, the same habit of explaining themselves to people who were never willing to understand them in the first place. The tragedy isn't growing old. The tragedy is arriving at the later chapters of life, still fighting battles that should have been left behind decades ago. Age has a quiet way of asking one question that cannot be ignored. What deserves the years you have left? The answer isn't found in proving yourself to the world. It is found in protecting your mind, guarding your peace, and becoming the kind of person whose presence speaks louder than unnecessary words. And that understanding begins with the wisdom that comes with growing older. The wisdom that comes with growing older. There is a quiet moment that almost everyone experiences, though few recognize it when it arrives. It isn't marked by a birthday, retirement, or a number on a calendar. It begins when you realize that time has become more valuable than proving a point. Something changes within you. The things that once demanded your attention no longer seem worthy of your energy. The arguments become smaller. The need to impress fades. The desire to keep up with everyone else slowly loses its grip. When you're young, life often feels like a race. You chase opportunities, recognition, possessions, and approval because you believe they will eventually deliver peace. You imagine that one more achievement, one more compliment, or one more victory will finally make you feel complete. But the years have a remarkable way of exposing illusions. They teach lessons that success alone never could. Growing older reveals a truth that youth often struggles to accept. Not everything deserves a response, and not every battle deserves to be fought. Wisdom is not measured by how much you know. It is measured by how well you choose where to place your attention. Many people grow old, but not everyone grows wise. Age by itself changes your appearance, but wisdom transforms your perspective. You begin to notice how much of your life was spent worrying about things that never truly mattered. You remember nights you couldn't sleep because of someone else's opinion, only to discover years later that those opinions disappeared while your peace had been the real price you paid. This realization is not depressing. It is deeply freeing. You stop carrying the invisible burden of trying to satisfy everyone. You accept that some people will misunderstand you no matter how carefully you explain yourself. Others will judge you through the lens of their own experiences rather than your intentions. Some relationships will naturally fade, not because anyone failed, but because people sometimes grow in different directions. Instead of resisting these changes, wisdom learns to cooperate with them. It understands that life moves in seasons. Some people are meant to walk beside you for decades. Others are only meant to teach you a lesson before quietly leaving your story. Holding on to every relationship simply because it once mattered often prevents new peace from entering your life. Growing older also teaches you that your greatest investment is no longer money alone. It is your attention. Attention is life itself. Whatever receives your attention eventually shapes your character. If your attention is constantly consumed by conflict, resentment, comparison, or regret, those emotions quietly become your daily companions. But when your attention is invested in gratitude, learning, health, faith, family, meaningful work, or personal growth, your inner world begins to reflect those choices. That is why wisdom becomes increasingly selective. Selective about conversations, selective about friendships, selective about habits, selective about where emotional energy is spent. Because every unnecessary burden takes something that cannot be replaced: time. The older you become, the more clearly you see that life is not asking you to collect more possessions. It is asking you to become a better steward of the years you still have. You begin to understand that peace is not something the world gives you. It is something you protect. And protecting it often requires saying no to people, situations, and expectations that once controlled your decisions. This isn't isolation. It isn't selfishness. It is maturity. It is the quiet confidence that knows your remaining years deserve to be lived intentionally instead of reactively. There is a beautiful strength in reaching a point where your greatest competition is no longer another person, but the person you were yesterday. That is where wisdom quietly begins changing everything. Why silence becomes your greatest strength. One of the greatest misunderstandings in life is believing that the strongest person is the one who always has the perfect answer. Strength is not measured by how loudly you speak. It is often measured by what you choose not to say. When we are younger, silence can feel uncomfortable. We mistake it for weakness because we believe every criticism demands a defense, every disagreement requires a response, and every misunderstanding must be corrected. We spend enormous amounts of emotional energy trying to convince people who have already decided not to understand us. Years later, we discover that explanation is not always communication. Sometimes it is simply exhaustion disguised as effort. Silence teaches a different lesson. It reminds you that not every opinion deserves space inside your mind. Not every accusation deserves your attention. Not every invitation into conflict deserves acceptance. Imagine carrying a cup filled to the very top with water. Every unnecessary argument, every piece of gossip, every pointless debate becomes another careless movement that spills what is inside. Before long, the cup is nearly empty, not because life demanded too much, but because too much was given away to things that added no value. Peace works the same way. You do not lose it all at once. You lose it one unnecessary reaction at a time. Silence protects what constant reaction cannot. It gives you room to think before emotion takes control. It creates distance between an event and your response. And in that small space lives wisdom. Many people confuse silence with surrender, but there is a profound difference. Surrender says, I have no choice. Wisdom says, I have a choice, and this is not worth my energy. That distinction changes everything. The older you become, the more valuable emotional discipline becomes. You begin to realize that your words are like seeds. Once planted, they cannot be gathered back. A sentence spoken in anger can wound for years, while a moment of restraint can preserve a relationship, protect your dignity, and save you from regret. Silence is not about hiding your voice. It is about choosing the right moment to use it. There are times when truth must be spoken with courage. There are also times when silence speaks more powerfully than any argument ever could. People often reveal far more about themselves when you stop interrupting them. They expose their intentions, their fears, and their character without realizing it. Silence allows you to observe before you react, to understand before you judge, and to respond instead of simply responding out of habit. As the years pass, you begin to appreciate that your greatest victories are rarely won through louder conversations. They're won through greater self-control. Because when your mind becomes quiet, your judgment becomes clearer. When your ego becomes quieter, your wisdom becomes louder. And when your need to prove yourself disappears, your presence begins to carry a confidence that no amount of arguing could ever create. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. There comes a time when constantly explaining your choices becomes more exhausting than simply living them. Not everyone is meant to understand your path, and that is perfectly fine. The need for constant approval quietly steals your confidence because it places your peace in someone else's hands. Live with integrity, let your actions speak, and accept that some people will misunderstand you, regardless of how carefully you explain yourself. Protect your peace like your greatest treasure. Peace is not something you stumble upon. It is something you guard every day. Be careful who you allow into your mind, your home, and your heart. Every unnecessary argument, grudge, or distraction takes a small piece of the life you have left. The older you become, the more you realize that protecting your inner calm is one of the wisest decisions you will ever make. Let go of what no longer deserves your energy. Not every burden is yours to carry. Some disappointments belong in the past, and some relationships have already taught the lesson they were meant to teach. Releasing what drains you is not giving up. It is making room for peace, clarity, and the people who truly value your presence. Focus on becoming, not convincing. There is great freedom in no longer trying to persuade everyone. Spend your remaining years improving your character instead of defending your choices. Quiet consistency will always speak more powerfully than endless explanations, and a life well lived becomes the strongest message you could ever leave behind. The quiet power of self-reflection. As the years pass, your greatest conversations are no longer with the world, but with yourself. In moments of quiet, you begin to see your life with greater honesty. Reflection allows you to learn from your mistakes without becoming trapped by them. It replaces regret with understanding and helps you recognize that true wisdom is not about having all the answers, but about asking yourself better questions every day. Invest your remaining years with purpose. Time becomes more precious because you finally understand it cannot be replaced. Spend it on what enriches your spirit, your health, your family, meaningful relationships, and the values that outlive you. The greatest legacy is not the wealth you accumulate, but the character you demonstrate and the peace you leave in the hearts of those whose lives you touch. True freedom begins within. Real freedom arrives when your happiness is no longer controlled by other people's opinions or expectations. It grows from a quiet heart, a clear conscience, and the confidence of living according to your values. When your inner world is at peace, the noise around you loses its power. Age with wisdom, dignity, and inner peace. Growing older is not about counting the years, but honoring them. Let your life become an example of patience, humility, and quiet strength. Walk gently, speak thoughtfully, and protect your peace with intention. In the end, the greatest victory is becoming someone whose silence speaks louder than words. And that is where our final reflection begins. There is a remarkable difference between simply surviving the passing years and allowing those years to refine you. Time by itself changes every face, but only reflection changes the heart. The later seasons of life are not meant to be spent chasing the noise that once demanded your attention. They are an invitation to return to what has always mattered: peace over pride, purpose over popularity, and wisdom over winning every argument. Perhaps the greatest achievement in old age is not having all the answers. It is no longer needing to prove that you do. There is incredible strength in becoming someone who listens more than he speaks, who observes more than he reacts, who forgives more than he remembers, and who protects his inner world with the same care that others protect their possessions. The world may continue to grow louder, faster, and more demanding, but your greatest contribution may be your calm, your patience, your restraint, your ability to remain steady while everything around you is searching for attention. Because a peaceful mind is not created by accident. It is built through thousands of quiet decisions. The decision to let go instead of holding on. The decision to remain silent instead of arguing. The decision to grow instead of proving. When you finally understand that your attention is the most valuable resource you possess, you stop giving it away so easily. And perhaps that is the deepest lesson of growing older. Your greatest legacy will never be how loudly you spoke. It will be how peacefully you lived. So as we leave this conversation, ask yourself one simple question. What deserves the years I have left? Protect your peace, guard your energy, choose your words carefully, and let your life become a quiet example of wisdom, dignity, and inner strength. If this message spoke to your heart, subscribe and join us for more conversations that help you grow stronger from the inside out. And before you go, leave a comment with one word that will define the rest of your life, or share one belief you're choosing to leave behind today. Sometimes the most powerful transformation begins not with saying more, but with finally knowing when silence is enough.